Ladies and gentlemen, bout number 4 of the evening. Clarke Peter Orlik versus Big Country, Mitchell Clarke.
And welcome back to ringside and the commentary position. Bruce Eva with you, about to be joined by one of Australia's leading boxing personalities in Brad Vicali. He's wearing multiple hats here tonight because the WBA have a regional strap on the line as we watch Peter Orlik make his way to centre ring. And what an amazing record this young man from Hungary has. He fought no less than 18 times in 2015. 18 times, an incredible record. He won 11 of them, lost 7. As I welcome Brad Vicali to the commentary position for the first time this evening.
Thanks, Bruce. It's wonderful to be here. The crowd's really starting to build up, and of course here at the pavilion there's always a knowledgeable crowd, and it's wonderful to see what Barry Michael is actually doing for Australian boxing.
And this next bout is proudly brought to us by CrownBet, and Peter Orlik's opponent tonight is the very talented Mitchell Clarke. 8 wins and 1 loss. Every victory coming by way of knockout. His only loss was to the man we saw just be triumphant just a few moments ago in Jade Mitchell, a 8-round points loss at the Royal Exhibition Buildings in June of last year. But Mitchell Clarke, one of the young up-and-comers in the Australian fight game.
And he's a natural super middleweight, 76.364 kilo, 168 pounds in the old language, or 12 stone for those of you like me who can't get their head around kilos. But Mitchell Middleton Clarke is a very, very good young fighter, trained by Darryl Ford. 76.15 kilos he weighed in last night, so he's right on the money, Bruce. And of course, this is his first fight for 2016, and it was a very good year for him last year, even though he suffered the only loss of his career to Jade Mitchell, and that was for the Victorian State Super Middleweight title. But after that, he got back on his bike and then he won the Super Middleweight title. So he is the current Victorian Super Middleweight champion here tonight as he takes on Peter Orlik, and that's going to be something pretty special.
Yeah, he did finish last year with a couple of stoppage wins over Darren Allison and Joel Burke. Back on Peter Orlik, as we said in the introductory comments a few moments ago, he fought 18 times last year. This will be his 32nd pro fight in just 28 months. And Mitchell Clarke, who we're watching walk to centre ring now, he is just 17 days younger than his opponent. But tonight it's his 10th professional fight, and it's Peter Orlik's 32nd. They do things differently in Hungary.
Oh, and right across Europe, and just let me touch on that. You know, our opponent tonight, Peter Orlik, for 2016, he's had 1 fight already, 18 fights for 2015.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is bout number 4 of the evening. This fight is brought to you by CrownBet. 8 by 3-minute rounds in the super middleweight division. Your referee in charge of this contest, Mr. Jimmy Boland. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, trained by Tibor Feyer out of the Zika gym, with an official weight of 73.2 kilograms, wearing black trunks with white. An official record of 30 fights for 16 wins, representing his motherland of Hungary. Ladies and gentlemen, Clarke Peter Orlik. And across the ring, his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, trained by Danny Kay out of the Fighting Lions and Mocha Boxing Club. An official weight of 76.1 kilograms, wearing the white shorts with black. An impressive fight record of 9 fights for 8 wins. Fighting out of Lucindale, South Australia, he is the Victorian Super Middleweight Champion. Ladies and gentlemen, Big Country, Mitchell Clarke.
You don't understand English, Mitch. Good luck to both boys. You know what I need? A good, clean fight. Shake hands now and start the last round. Okay? Good, boys.
There is a lot to like about Mitchell Clarke, a southpaw, and he possesses sledgehammers in both gloves.
He certainly does, Bruce, and of course we're almost ready for a start here. Referee James Boland has given the boys their final instructions, and Peter Orlik, all the way from Kistaska in Hungary, in the black trunks with the white band and piping and the black boots, and his opponent Mitchell Middleton Clarke, originally from Victoria, now calls South Australia home, Lucindale, and he's in the white trunks. He goes straight at Peter Orlik. And Bruce, the southpaw stance is going to. I'm sure Peter Orlik has fought a number of southpaws in his past, but and a tall, rangy southpaw that's got a bit of power is always an awkward fighter.
Yeah, he's got a big wide stance, Mitchell Clarke, and you just always feel that that left is going to find a home with incredible power and velocity. He really can load up, and he likes to load up early as well.
He certainly does. 8 wins, 8 by way of knockout. He is Mr. 100% at the moment, so can he retain that tonight? I think it'll be a harder task for him tonight when you look at the quality of opponents that Peter Orlik has fought, and in the countries that he's fought. He's fought in a lot of countries, and just that experience, Bruce, the travel, and of course, you know, the different time zones, the different water, the different food, and the different officials certainly toughens you up and makes you aware of what's going on in other parts of the world.
Well, Orlik's already had a bout this year. He fought for the vacant WBC Youth World Light Heavyweight title in Munich, in Germany, against James Kraft. He was stopped in 3 rounds by the undefeated Kraft, but boy, gee, he's busy. He virtually fights every 3 or 4 weeks.
Well, that's what they do in Europe. You know, there's always fight shows on. There's a fight show on every day of the week somewhere, and of course he just crosses the border and goes over to you know, Hungary, or over to Hamburg in Germany, and Sauerland in Germany as well. And so there's no shortage of fights. And of course he's a guy who loves to fight. So he's always going to be on someone's mind.
Cautious start by both men, and you can understand Mitchell Clarke coming up against someone so experienced, and Clarke wears a right hand as well.
And it was a looping right hand, and Mitchell saw that coming, but he actually watched the punch hit him. And he's going to need to be a little bit careful. Of course, at this point in time, he's not a real big puncher, Peter Orlik. Just 3 knockouts of his 16 wins, so he's not a big puncher.
Lovely right rip from Clarke in close, who he certainly doesn't mind closing the distance and hasn't thrown a lot when he's got in close. Probably one of the more cautious beginnings we've seen from Clarke throughout his short career to date.
This is really his first international fight, isn't it? You know, so he's going to have a lot of nerves. He's going to have a lot of questions that he wants to answer himself. But he's going straight at Peter Orlik. Beautiful body punches there. He just needs to be aware of those wild little swings that Orlik's throwing there with those big right hands, because one of them is going to find a home. Oh, is it crunchy there? He gets hit again right above our commentary position, Bruce.
Nailed him with the left, didn't it? That combination all started with a lovely uppercut, and he just kept the hands busy and finished it with a big solid left.
Good round, close round. I think Clarke might have just finished that round. Clarke, just by virtue of his work ethic, he worked the body, he worked the head, and he might have just pinched that round 10-9 on our card, Bruce.
This one brought to you by...
We'll see some action from the opening stanza, scheduled for 8, and there's that right hand that, as you said, Brad, he basically saw it coming.
Yep. There's the body punches I was talking about, and look, if he can continue on that vein, he's going to slow, you know, the old saying, Bruce, hurt the body, you're going to hurt the mind. And there's the body punches again from another angle, followed by the uppercut. There's that wild swing by Peter. And some good vision of the first round from our cameramen here at the pavilion tonight. A warm, balmy night here in Melbourne, Pete. We've got a full house here, Bruce.
We sure have, Brad. Brad Ficali and Bruce Eva with you on commentary tonight here at the pavilion. And we've got 3 huge bouts still to come after this one. And the main event tonight, Zach Dunn and Rogerio Damasco for the vacant WBC International Silver Super Middleweight strap. Round 2, scheduled 8.
And Mitchell Middleton Clarke struts straight out into centre ring. He wants to control the centre ring. He wants his Van Vella to step off and make him do all the work, use all of the ring.
He's letting his hands go a lot earlier in this round than he did in the opening stanza.
There's the left cross. I like that left cross. He's heading straight down the pipe. It hasn't hit yet, but he's just starting. He's a little bit scrappy at the moment. Once he finds his range, I think you'll see. Oh, there's that clubbing right hand by Peter Orlik.
Yeah, it's Orlik's money shot, isn't it?
It is.
Big bolo right, but and clipped Clarke as well.
Right.
Just a glancing blow, but certainly slightly spun the head around.
Doesn't need to get hit by those punches. They might not hurt, but look, they're going to take points off him, you know, and that's the thing that we need to look at. And as the shine comes off him, those punches are going to start to hurt a little bit. Oh, nice beat, digs him up under the rib cage there. He makes Peter Orlik miss. He hurts, actually, Peter Orlik there with that right arm, that left hook, that cross. He's got him in. Oh, look at this. He's got him in a little bit of trouble.
Orlik in a heap of trouble, and he just had to claim Clarke in the end to stop the blows raining down him. Clarke's looking for an early finish here, Brad.
Oh, Bruce, the body shots are starting to take their toll on the visitor, Peter Orlik. And, of course, he'd be struggling a little bit with the weather down here in Melbourne.
Oh, the uppercut was superb.
Yep, that certainly brought his head up. There's the left cross again. That's the money punch for me. Mitch Middleton Clarke doing it very, very well here tonight at the Pavilion.
I like the way Clarke's staying composed as well. He knows he's got his man hurt. He's just stalking him around the ring and picking him off with terrific shots.
Doing he's ahead of his time, having his 10th professional fight tonight, Mitch Middleton Clarke, against 32. He's having his 32nd fight, is Peter Orlik from Hungary. And, of course, when you look at the amount of rounds that the boys have fought, Peter Orlik has fought 139 professional rounds and Mitch Middleton Clarke has only fought 32. So there's a vast difference in experience, but you wouldn't tell by this round, would you, Bruce?
It's the hunter and the hunted at the moment.
Beautiful body shots there by Mitch Clarke. Really digging him up under the rib cage, isn't he?
Full kit of punches from Mitchell Clarke. And Peter Orlik, he's done well to soak up so much punishment in this round. He had to claim his opponent earlier, but he hasn't visited the canvases yet.
And the tide of this fight has changed dramatically. The punching power of Mitch Middleton Clarke is really starting to take its toll on Peter Orlik. Of course, the tide has really turned, and of course we can see Peter Orlik using all of the ring now. He's starting to move to his right to try and get away from that left cross. It's not going to work. He needs to move the other way.
Just rolls down the ropes away from his own corner. Last 15 seconds of the second stanza.
Mitch knows that he's got that left cross, that he's going to walk onto that straight down the pipe, straight down the windpipe. There it is again. Oh, that was a powerful punch, followed by the right hook, followed by the left hook to the body, as we see the end of second round, dominating round by Mitch Middleton Clarke in the blue corner.
Well, that's almost a 10-8 round, even though there wasn't a visit to the canvas. He dominated the 3 minutes so decisively.
Absolutely. Some judges will score that 10-8, and you know, because he was totally dominant. And you know, a lot of judges around the country will look at that and say, oh, no, it was a 10-9. But when you look at the punch count, effective aggression is what there's the left hook and the hook to the body again, and the uppercuts. He's doing it really well. He's working the body, then bringing it up top. He's going high and then low, followed by the left cross.
And his accuracy was great. And that's the composure, isn't it? Not knowing that your opponent's hurt, but not getting wild. He stayed composed.
He's focused. He's staying on the game. He's not getting ahead of himself. There's the left cross to the body. He's starting to mix it up, Bruce, where he's going to the body.
Not just going head hunting.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's great to see a young man like that not head hunting. You know, we see so many young guys just want to head hunt.
Round 3.
Doing very, very well. Big country, Mitch Middleton Clarke, and that's Peter Orlik in the black and white, all the way from Kistaska in Hungary.
And you're with Brad Vicali and Bruce Eva on Channel 31 here in Melbourne in the greater metropolitan area, and down in Geelong as well, also on the Star Sport Network over in North America.
To Joe DeGuardia and all the team over there in New York, I hope you're enjoying our promotion here from the Pavilion here in Melbourne, Victoria. And Joe, we've got to get you out here. You've got to come and see for yourself and touch and feel some of the Australian boxes, because you've got our Zach done. And there's a beautiful left cross.
And Orlik is in big trouble again.
He's starting to hold on now. He's just becoming a passenger now, Peter Orlik. Gee, I didn't see this happening. With the experience of Hungary's Peter Orlik, he's really fighting for survival now.
He claims Clarke again. In fact, Jimmy Boland hasn't had to do too much.
Well, Mitch is just throwing lots of punch. Mitchell Clarke, there's the left cross, followed by the right hook to the head, right hook to the body, left cross again. He's not giving Peter Orlik any time to breathe. He's staying on him.
Just above our commentary position now. Surely he can't wear too many or eat too many more of these straight lefts down the pipe.
Scheduled for 8 3-minute rounds. We're in round number 3, and it's a totally dominant Mitch Middleton Clarke, 76.15 kilos. And, of course, Peter Orlik, who has fought, only weighed in at 73.2 kilos tonight, so he's just above the middleweight limit. But the guy has fought super middleweight, he's fought light heavyweight. He's an amazing young guy, but he really looks like he's just an overgrown middleweight, doesn't he? He's a 72-kilo fighter.
And he's appearing to get smaller before our eyes as Mitchell Clarke just dominates him again. in these exchanges, and really he just hasn't got the punching power, the Hungarian, to
keep him out.
And get his respect. I'm sure he respects him, but in terms of keeping Mitch Clarke off him, who again stalking him, and just above us in this neutral corner, he's raining blows from both hands down on the head of our Hungarian visitor.
And Bruce, that was the key you said, with both hands, punches in bunches. That's what win fights. You can't win a fight by throwing one punch. And he has got the power, Mitch Middleton Clarke. We know that. He's got knockout power in either hand, but look at the bunches he's throwing. Always he's throwing 2 and 3 and 4 punches in a row. But there's that sneaky, dangerous little right from Peter Orlik again.
It's his signature shot. It's about the only one that's found a home so far in almost 3 rounds. We've got 30 seconds to go in the third stanza. It's another Mitchell Clarke round.
Clear Mitchell Clarke round, absolutely. Totally dominant at this stage of the fight. And that left cross, Peter Orlik just can't seem to get around that or get under the left cross. You know, some guys just can't handle the southpaw. Some guys love southpaws. They love to fight them. They can understand them. The psyche of a southpaw is vastly different to that of an orthodox. And if you've ever had to box a southpaw, you'll know what I'm talking about.
And that's the third round in the books, and that's another Mitchell Clarke round. And he wouldn't blow out a candle either. He's stripped in magnificent condition, as is Peter Orlik, it must be said. As we'll see some of the action from that third round as Danny Kaye goes to work in Mitchell Clarke's corner.
And one of the most unheralded fight trainers in the land, Danny Kaye. He doesn't talk about it, he just gets it done. Let's see some of this action. There's the beautiful left cross. If you want to throw a left cross, that's how you throw it. And he follows up with punches in bunches. And what's the footwork? The footwork, he steps outside Peter Orlik's left foot, and now he's dominant there. He's just working away, and Orlik throws just the wild punch here and there. The one punch that we spoke about, Bruce, not going to work on this occasion.
Very light on his feet, Mitchell Clarke.
For a big man.
For a big man, yep.
Yeah. Tall, rangy, very heavy up top. You could probably see Middleton Clarke becoming a light heavyweight as he's only a young guy. He's I don't even know.
Just 21.
21 years of age. Oh, golly, what a career ahead of him he's got. Just the one loss to Jade Mitchell, and I'm sure these two will fight. They're both good friends. They both respect each other. It was a terrific fight at the Royal Exhibition Buildings in June last year when Jade Mitchell took it away from, took the Victorian title off Mitchell Clarke.
We're underway in the fourth, scheduled for 8, and Peter Orlik, there's not much offense coming back the other way at Mitchell Clarke. He's having to do a lot of covering up the Hungarian.
I think he's just trying to survive at this stage before he can turn it around. He needs to do something to turn it around. And I would suggest that he starts to throw that left lead, but throw it with some vigour, really stab it out. And of course, you know, there's lots of scenarios people have how you beat a southpaw. People, you know, the old traditional way is you throw lots of right hands, step the left foot across and come across straight down the pipe with the right hand. A lot of people will say, especially Europeans, no, the left hook is the one that beats southpaws. So the jury's still out. You know, I've always found a bit of success when I was fighting that left hooks beat southpaws, and right hands, you're never going to miss them if you can step outside the front foot, but it's a matter of contention. Oh, there's that left cross again.
It's target practice again, Brad, isn't it?
It really is. He hasn't missed. He's found a home for that every time he throws. There it is again.
Give Peter Orlik credit. He still hasn't visited the canvas. His legs aren't as sturdy as they were at the start of the fight. He's pretty heavy in the knees, a little loose in the heels.
I've got a feeling we're going to see the end of this very shortly. Orlik just backs up into the neutral corner. He's just a punching bag at the moment. Referee
Jimmy Bolton having a good look. Orlik still covering up. There's nothing coming back.
Whoops, as he almost pushes Mitch Clarke out.
He's always been an aggressive referee, Jimmy.
Oh, yes. Mitch said, what are you doing? I'm only the fighter here.
Jim Boland having a close look at Peter Orlik, and another stinging body shot.
There it is. He's totally dominant here. Peter Orlik, all the way from Hungary, is just a passenger at the moment. It's just taking unnecessary punishment. And I say that Jim Boland won't take too much of this, and he'll call an end to this shortly. But
just in permanent retreat.
Doing it really well here at the Melbourne Pavilion. On a wonderful night here in Melbourne. Friday night, wherever you might be watching around Australia, in Victoria, down, especially our friends down in Geelong and regional country Victoria, I hope you're enjoying it. And all our friends right across the world, across North America, South America, on our live stream as well. Beautiful left cross there.
Another
confidence is sky high at the moment, Mitchell Clarke. In a moment, he's going to start. He's headhunting a little bit there, Mitch. You'll see he's going to come to the body in a minute. He'll go to the body and then bring that uppercut. There it is. Look, there it is. There's the uppercut, as I said. So we see the end of the 4th round. Bruce, another good round.
Another excellent round from Mitchell Clarke. And once again, it was basically target practice. Peter Orlik virtually just covered up for the entire 3 minutes.
Absolutely. And that really was another 10-8 round, I guess. You could call that a 10-8 round because, I think Peter Orlik really only probably grazed Mitch Middleton Clarke once or twice. Let's have a look at some of the better action in this round number 4 as we see a totally dominant Mitchell Clarke.
Basically just stormed his way through the gloves of Peter Orlik, and he had them very high, but just the sheer velocity and the number of punches thrown as well.
He's showing a distinct lack of respect for Peter Orlik, isn't he, Bruce? By golly, Mitch Middleton Clarke, boy, he's really turned it on for the crowd here tonight. There's the uppercut I said was coming. Maybe he heard it.
Well, I reckon he'd be looking for a stoppage in this 5th round, though. He's about the only thing he's going to hurt from here on in is probably break a bone in his hand.
Absolutely.
He's landed both hands on the very head of the Hungarian Peter Orlik.
I suspect that a body shot will be the one that will end this fight, I think, more so than a headshot. Peter Orlik looks like he's a tough customer. He's been hit around the head. He's been in with some good fighters. And, of course, I think the body punch will be the punch.
More of the same at the start of the 5th. Orlik just can't stay out of harm's way. And there's no offense coming back.
And he looks a tired fighter now, doesn't he? The head's down, the mouth is open, and he's sort of leaning in. You can see the head above his feet. His head is outside his feet, so realistically he's in foul territory if they were to bump into heads. If they bumped heads, he's leaning towards with his head, but he's a tired fighter that's copped a lot of punishment. Here in round number 5 of a schedule 8 3-minute rounds.
His eyes don't look clear.
No, and Mitch Middleton Clarke is certainly in the zone at the moment. He's focused. Lefts and rights to the head. Right, I should say rights and lefts to the head. Mitch Middleton Clarke is Peter Orlik. He looks like a spent fighter now, and I reckon Jim Boland is going to come in and pull this thing up in a minute. He just looks like a spent fighter, Bruce, doesn't he?
Right back.
The head is down.
He's having a good look at Peter Orlik. He wants to see something coming back, Jimmy Boland.
And you couldn't blame Peter Orlik for throwing the towel in at this round. He hasn't won a round yet. He's still in there trying his best, but he's not going to win this fight unless he gets a corner post or something and hits Middleton Clarke with it.
We're still 75 seconds out from the end of the 5th. He's done well, Peter Orlik, to take it into the second half of the fight. He wears another straight left. The uppercut was taken on the gloves.
But you can see Mitch Middleton Clarke is actually thinking a little bit because he's starting to want to bring him up now. There's the body, followed by the head, punches in bunches again, 2 to the body, 1 to the head, really mixing it up and confusing his opponent. He's done that from the start.
Right. One more, finish. Okay.
And you heard that from Jimmy Boland. One more finish as a straight left again finds a home. Orlik in big trouble here. He's still to get through the last 30 seconds. Jimmy Boland having a very close look at it. A stoppage imminent, you would expect. He's very close now. And the towel comes in. The towel comes in.
Good corner man by his corner, Fedor.
With 20 seconds or thereabouts remaining in the 5th round. And Mitchell Clarke had just absolutely sustained an all-out attack for almost 5 rounds. And that was a good stoppage. Peter Orlik, as game as they come, but completely outclassed.
Had to save him from himself. And Faya Tibor, a very experienced trainer, has brought a team out here this weekend. And, of course, he wasn't going to let his fighter take any unnecessary punishment. He knows he hasn't won a round as we see some of this action. And, sadly, Peter Orlik was just a passenger, a punching bag for the up-and-coming young Mitch Middleton Clarke. And here we see some of that action.
We'll go up to our ring announcer, John Demicoli, very shortly for the official announcement.
This fight is brought to you by CrownBet. The game just changed.
As we see Peter Orlik just getting the gloves undone by Taya Fibor, and really, really good good corner work by his team there, because they weren't going to let him cop too much punishment, Bruce, and that's really good. You know, he cares about his fighter. We don't want to see fighters unnecessarily hurt. He hadn't won a round, and it was I think it was a good stoppage.
And we'll see his countryman Istvan Zeller in action in a couple of fights' time. You're actually the WBA...
I'm wearing two hats tonight, yes, the WBA representative for the Pan-African title here tonight with the young Filipino superstar, Michael Camillion, a really good fighter. This is a fighter that they didn't really want, but they had to take him, so there's going to be something special.
Ladies and gentlemen, 2 minutes and 39 seconds into the 5th round. This fight ended, declaring your winner via TKO. Red corner, Big Country, Mitchell Clarke.
And he stays perfect, Mitchell Clarke, in terms of all of his victories coming by way of stoppage. Just the one loss in his record to close friend Jade Mitchell, a points decision in June of last year. But now 9 wins, all by way of stoppage. We'll take a short break, and this is Barry Michael Boxing from the Melbourne Pavilion.